Hello and welcome to Marketplace with Charles, brought to you by Art of Skincare. Art of Skincare, the company that brings out the beauty in you. I am Charles Ngobeni, your host. On Marketplace, we aim to empower, encourage, and equip you with the right tools needed to move closer to you achieving your entrepreneurial dreams. Each week, we bring you insight from experts in different fields of business, men and women of faith, and ordinary people from all walks of life. In today's show, we explore the subject of turning your misfortunes into fortunes, for there is a hope for the hopeless. We speak once more again to a business consultant, an accountant, a tax practitioner, and a motivational speaker, a man of much learning and experience in areas of business consulting, financial management, banking, and business financing. He has spent many years in the banking environment, out of which he gathered an invaluable wealth of knowledge on matters pertaining to your business financial soundness, as well as other areas of business development. Welcome, Mr. Kenneth Mhlongo, with me in your home, in your hotel room, or wherever you may be watching this show from. Last week, we made a presentation of the fact that situations or conditions can arise that can totally set one's off course if they do not know how to respond or how to handle them. But life has proven over and over again that adverse condition can be used to one's advantage. We have people who, by any human judgment, will have never ever amounted to anything because of the condition that they have found themselves in. Yet we know of people whose adverse conditions have been turned into major boom for them, turning their misfortunes into fortunes. Think of the recently trending Yena Ayakwe, Budi July from Limpopo, or the renowned Nick from Australia, the evangelist, whom despised his limbless body, goes on to create situations and things that are customized to revolve around him. And he is an inspirational speaker all over the world to all the people, both young and old. Kenny, allow me to call you Njomani.
Thank you, Charles.
Welcome once more to the Marketplace.
Thank you, Charles, for having me on your show once more. I really appreciate that. And good day to all of his viewers out there.
You know, the normal response to anyone confronted by such tragic situation like the one that you faced, would be an anger towards God, would be an anger to any other person around him, would be an anger to Listorsis. If I were to put it that way.
Yeah.
Or would be an anger to Viana and Paloni and all sorts of things.
Yes.
It is granted that one can finally come out to the point of an acceptance.
Yes.
You accept your condition.
Yes.
In your own view in life, do you have any comment on this?
Charles, to talk about the conditions, the first thing that I want to do is to say what somebody once said before. Someone said that the condition of the jungle never forces a lion to eat grass.
Okay.
A lion can go for days and even weeks without catching a prey, but it will never eat grass. Even though grass is in abundance in the jungle,
but the lion will never eat grass.
It never eats the grass because it never takes the easy way out, which is the easy way out for the lion to eat grass, which is available everywhere. It does not even have to chase it. But as human beings, we are God's greatest creatures. But for some reason, and God has given us very good brains and very good minds, but for some reasons, when we are sitting with challenges, we easily take the easiest way out, and that's when we start to eat grass. And Charles, I look at my own condition, my amputation, and I regard that as my own jungle. And I said to myself, you know what? I will never allow my condition to run my life and to determine my future. Somebody once said that all conditions were designed to be subject to the to be subjected to the power of a human being, you know. So any condition, it's not supposed to predetermine your destination or to start to run your future or what you want to achieve in life. There is the late Stephen Howick. Mm-hmm. Stephen Howick, he died in March 2018.
Yes,
and way back in 1964, mm-hmm. when he was 22 years old, he was diagnosed with a motor neuron disease, mm-hmm. which rendered him completely paralyzed. So he was full-time on a wheelchair. He couldn't walk. And over and above that, he could not speak without a voice synthesizer. And when he was diagnosed with the condition, he was told by the doctors then that he will only live for a few years. He will die in no time. Let me tell you, Charles, from 1964, he lived until 2017. He lived for an extra 54 years after when they predicted that he's going to die in some few years. Mm-hmm. And secondly, in 1988, he actually wrote a book which they called A Brief History of Time. And that book became a worldwide bestseller. 24 years after when he was diagnosed with the disease, and he was actually totally paralyzed. He couldn't mm-hmm. speak. He still managed to achieve all those things. So that in itself shows you that the condition that you find yourself in does not dictate what your future is going to look like. Mm-hmm. What your future is going to look like depends 100% on you. It's on your shoulders.
You create your own future.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Because, and one of the things that you need to do to be able to create a better future for yourself is to deal with yourself, which I said previously, you are your own enemy. Mm. Because some of those negative thoughts that you have in you, those are the same thoughts that actually hold you back in terms of you being able to achieve your goals in life.
You have got some other people who have been amputated, and they go into the street corners and become beggars.
Yes.
You have got other people who have been amputated like yourself, who make it in life, yes, and even do much better.
That's correct, Charles. Yeah, you made a very important analogy, Charles. Then if you are amputated and you decide to go to a street corner and start begging, it's like a lion. When a lion cannot catch a prey, then it decides to go and eat grass, mm-hmm. because that's the easiest way you can do. So as a person, you need to make sure that you need to transcend your own conditions in life, where those negative conditions. And what's critical, it's got to do more with your own attitude and approach towards life in terms of how I do the challenges. But another thing, Charles, as well, that helped me, it's got to do with my nature as well. Every time when I've got a challenge, I would like to look beyond myself. You know, I become sort of selfless as a person. And the fact that I went through an amputation, I said to myself, how can I take this negative event to be able to assist other people? You know, and that's the reason why, after having gone through this whole process, I made a conscious decision to develop a talk which I called Changing Your Misfortunes into Fortunes.
In other words, you are saying to me that if you were not amputated, you wouldn't be sitting here with me today.
Definitely, just I wouldn't. Because
and you wouldn't be a better motivational speaker.
Definitely, 100%.
Now you've got something to go all over the world and not only encourage people, yes, but make money out of it.
That's correct, Charles. You know, I think the most important thing is the bigger purpose. Mm. The bigger purpose is for me to help people who have, yes, gone through some misfortunes, or people who are currently going through some misfortunes, and people who will be going through some misfortunes in the near future, to equip them, maybe to put them in a position where they'll be able to cope much better than I did. You know, and yes, the money will come in a way, but that's the reason, why, Charles, if you allow me to say this, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm saying to all the viewers out there, the first 5 organizations or companies that are going to call me after this interview, I will offer them a free talk, The only thing that they have to do, they have to cover my traveling and my accommodation costs, and that's it. The first 5 that's going to call me, I'm going to go and give that talk for free.
Viewers out there, some people see roses with thorns. Others, they see thorns with roses. But both of them, they're watching or looking or gazing at the same flower. You choose. Do you want to see roses with thorns, or do you want to see thorns with roses? After the break, we'll take it there. Welcome back to Marketplace with Charles. I am sitting here with my guest, Kenneth Njobana Mhlongo. Kenneth, you made a promise that the first 5 companies that will call you,
Yes.
you'll give them a free talk,
Yes.
motivational talk.
Yes.
How good will that talk? Because, what is hidden between that? Because I believe there's nothing for Mahala. If ever there's something Mahala, maybe there's no value in it.
Charles, I must say it's a very good talk, and I tell you why. The reason why I say that, it's a talk that was not a product of a desktop research.
Yeah.
It's a talk that was a product of my own personal experience.
I love that.
It's out of my own personal experience. I'm talking about something that I know. I'm talking about something that I went through. And I think it will definitely add a lot of value to people. And also, yes, I think it's also got to do with my age as well. As you grow old, you also like to plow back. And I think this is a way of me plowing back as well. And what's important for me, Charles, as long as I touch a life and I make a difference in 1 or 2 people or 3 people, that itself is fulfilling for me as a person.
That's great. I love that. Yeah. The greatest people in history, they don't go for money.
Yes.
But they go for people.
That's
because
correct.
people are precious before God.
That's correct.
Money is just a reward of a good work done later on.
A lot of people might not know, I worked for ABSA for a period of 8.5 years. And in the 8.5 years that I worked for ABSA, I was promoted 4 times. And I got quite a number of accolades, and I got a number of good increases. I got shares and all the stuff of things. But I tell you what made me to be successful. I was not working for a promotion or working for a bonus. When I was recruited in ABSA as a branch manager from outside the banking industry, I asked myself a question. Why are they recruiting me from outside the bank? Is it that they want to truly transform, or they want to prove that a black man can never make it in the banking industry? I said, I don't care whatever the reason is or was. But I said, my higher purpose was to go in there, make sure that I outperform everyone, so that I should be opening opportunities for other black Africans to get access into the banking sector. Because before I joined, a lot of people within the bank were only appointed in support position. They were not really appointed as bankers. So that was my bigger purpose. I said, I will go in there, I'll work hard, I'll outperform everyone, so that by doing so, I'll be opening opportunities for my black and African brothers to be able to go into banking.
No, great.
Yes.
Let's go back to the topic of the day.
Yes.
After you have gone whatever you have gone through, I presume that there will be some blaming to follow,
Yes.
not only to you, but to many other people, which is, I think that's normal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Because I haven't gone through such a drastic change in my physiological body. But how do you deal with that?
Charles, blaming it's a normal behavior. It's an easy way out, because once you, more especially when you blame other people, you are removing yourself from the situation. So in that way, when you start to blame other people, you are taking away your responsibility of controlling the situation, and it takes away the power that you have as a person to be able to control and conquer the situation. Because all of a sudden, it's not your problem. It's someone else that caused your problem. So blaming is natural, but it's something that if you want to start to change or turn your misfortunes into fortunes, you need to do that effectively. Don't blame yourself, don't blame other people, and don't even blame God. Because by so doing, you reclaim your power back as a person. You put yourself in a position where you are able to control and conquer your situation.
You know, I like this situation in the Bible. God spoke to Adam. He gave Adam an instruction.
Yes.
He said, don't eat of these fruits. But after all the mishap, when God came, what did he do? He looked for Adam.
Yes.
He said, Adam, Adam, where are you?
Yes.
But then, what happened? Adam blamed Eve.
That's correct, yes.
And Eve blamed the snake.
Yes.
The poor snake. There was nothing to blame. We're all shifting the blame to another.
correct, yes.
And yet the instruction was given to Adam.
That's correct.
And
yeah.
that's the reason why when God came back, he never looked for Eve. He never looked for the snake.
Yeah.
But he looked for the man whom he gave instructions to.
Yes.
So blaming does not help. You can't shift the blame. We have to take and we have to learn to take responsibilities in life.
Yes.
Let's look into the self-pity. Do you find yourself following that pattern of pitying yourself, beating you up, and how do you cope with that?
Charles, I have learned over a period of time that self-pity it's a very selfish behavior, because once you start to pity yourself, you forget about how your condition affects the people around you. And because once you pity yourself, you also make it difficult for the people around you to be able to give the necessary support.
Yeah.
Because a person who pities himself, what happens is that he is normally stressed, he is not good company. So, and people will not want to be around you because of the fact that when they are around you, they actually get more stressed. And it makes it difficult for them to support you. And people who pity themselves a lot, they even start to behave in such a way that they create an impression that the people around them, they were also involved into them getting into these specific problems and conditions. You know, that's why most of the time, you know, you find that many times people that are going through misfortunes, people tend to run away from them. They come and see them once. They don't want to go back and see them again, you know.
Tell me, in your situation, did you have any support system? Or are there some support system out there? Have you ever used one, or it was not necessary for you because you look like you're a strong man, you can handle this?
Yeah,
so, because we say the tigers don't cry.
Not necessarily, Charles. I had a lot of support from my woman. I had a lot of support from my family. And I'll say it as well that I just made it easy for them to support me. You know, and another thing that's important with support is that you need to appreciate the support that you get from people, and you also need to on your own to strive, just to make it easy for these people who are supporting you to continue supporting you. You know what? You need to start to move on. You know, and improve yourself. You cannot stand still, because once you do that, it's like you're expecting them to support you forever. And I tell you, Charles, I've seen something that I could not believe. And at some time, I could feel that even the people around me were even starting to blame themselves for my mistakes, for what happened to me, as a person. And I will take time and sort of talk to them and try and motivate them, say, guys, you got nothing to do with this condition. Because sometimes they felt that they could have done better to assist me. But I made a deliberate effort as a person who's a motivational speaker. I'll try and as much as possible to make them understand that there is nothing wrong that they did for me to be amputated. And there's nothing that they could have done better in any way. It was actually meant to happen. And the fact that, and it became easier as well for them because I also accepted it as a person. Because once I accept it, it's easy for the next person to accept it. So yeah, I got a lot of support and it just made it easier for me to go through the process.
The first person that you need in life is God. The second most important person that you need for your support is Jesus Christ. You also need the Holy Spirit for your support. But never forget, you also need me. You need Kenneth. You need your neighbor. You need your brother. Let's support each other. The support system in this kind of situations is most paramount towards your healing. After the break.
God bless you. This is Apostle Abraham. I want you to seriously consider studying the Word of God. I have seen what it does in people's lives, and I want to make that invitation to you. We believe that we are the only free lecture student Bible school in the world. Fully correspondence and enabling you to receive your PhD from the United States of America at Lighthouse Seminary. When God calls you, He's going to call you through His Word. Make a decision today to study the Word of God. Contact us today because God is calling you to train you, equip you, activate, and release you into His kingdom. God bless you.
Welcome back to Marketplace with Charles. I am still sitting here with my guest, Kenneth Ngobeni. Ngobeni, let's talk about the power of a human mind.
Yes.
Charles, in this situation.
Yeah, Charles, I always say that as human beings, we are God's greatest creations. Mm-hmm. And God blessed us with very powerful minds. But what is critical is how you deal with the mind. It's how you harness your mind to be able to transcend any situation. But God has endowed each and every one of us with the potential and the ability to transcend any misfortunes that we happen to come across as human beings. But there are some things that sometimes stifle our minds in terms of fully optimizing our mind to transcend any situations. To a large extent, it's got to do with our attitude and our approach towards misfortunes. As I said previously, is that before your mind can work for you, because obviously when you go through a misfortune, you first go through some negative emotions. And those negative emotions are the one that prevents you from using your mind optimally. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that you need to do as a person is to clear and level the playing field for your own mind by making sure that you do a few things that will assist you to do away with your negative emotions and start to usher in some positive emotions. And there are a few things that you can do, Charles, to usher some positive emotions so that your mind can be able to function optimally. I've talked about one of them already. We have talked about almost all of them. We talked about accepting your condition and unconditionally, not pitying yourself, not blaming yourself, not even blaming God or any other person. And the other thing that is important as well, it's your outlook to the misfortune. A lot of people, when they are actually faced with a misfortune, they normally see it as an unfortunate situation. But I personally look at a misfortune as a challenge for me. It's a challenge. It's something that I need to deal with. And by looking at it as a challenge, it gives me the power to be able to deal with that challenge and also to get it under control. And Charles, just to make it easy for people to understand, I'll give you a true life story that happens before. A pilot in the United States was actually involved in a plane crash. He was flying himself as a pilot. And then 30 minutes after when he was involved in an accident, he was still alive. And the doctor said to this guy, you know, for the fact that you're still alive after 30 minutes, that in itself, it's a miracle, you know? And then they started to treat this guy, but they never see any... And the other thing that the doctor said to him was the fact that he will not be able to breathe on his own, he will not be able to speak, he will not be able to eat on his own, he will not be able to walk on his own. 4 things. He said, you will not be able to do that, irrespective for a recovery. And then as they carried on with the treatment, and because now this guy couldn't speak, you know, they asked him to say, look, we ask you, we want to know whether do we have to proceed with the treatment or we just have to give up. And they asked this guy to say, if you want to carry on with the treatment, please lift your finger. And you know what this guy did? He lifted his finger. And that guy said, at that point in time when I lifted my finger, that's when I recovered from all those conditions. And you know what he did? To cut matters short, he managed to train himself to breathe on his own. He learned to speak. He managed to eat on his own. And after some time, the only thing that he could not do was to walk, to be able to walk on his own. So he went through some physiotherapy session. And there was no promise, you know. And the doctors called this guy in a boardroom, doctors and specialists, and said to him, look, we think you're too hard on yourself. You'll never be able to walk on your own. You know what this guy said? He said, I will walk out of this hospital on my 2 feet. And then he stayed on for some couple of weeks. He couldn't still walk. And they said, it's time up now. We have to discharge you. We don't have space for you anymore. And then 2 guys pushed him on his wheelchair. Just at the exit of the hospital, this guy says, please stand back. The guys were pushing him. He tried to stand up, he couldn't. Second time he stood up, he walked 4 steps out of that hospital. And he says, bring the wheelchair. He says, go and tell the doctor that I'll be back in his office working on my 2 feet. And those are the kind of things that prevent people from achieving what they need to achieve.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Yes.
But tell me, Ken, if somebody wants to get hold of you, how do they do that?
Charles, they can contact me on my cell phone number 072 4055 807. They can also contact me, follow me on my Facebook page, Castor Care Consultants. They can also contact me on our website, www.castorcare.co.za.
I am on Instagram, Charles_Ngobeni, or Facebook, Charles Ngobeni, or you may log into my website, www.charlesngobeni.com. Thank you for watching. See you next time, same place, same channel, and God bless you.